So this has been burning in my mind, and I just have to get it out. I've been thinking more and more about this whole situation we've been seeing developing, and it needs to be viewed in its broader context. It's so important. I'm just going to say the quiet part out loud. This entire enterprise, this Zionist movement that started back in the early 1900s and is moving towards the establishment of the Jewish state in 1948, it is 100% about land theft. It's about trying to take over all of the land in Palestine for the ethnocentric Jewish state of Israel. That's it. The hardliners that are in power right now, their goal is to further that goal. That's it. That's all they're doing. So if you think of everything that gets said or done, think of it through that context. So what just happened recently? If your goal is to get the rest of the people who are on the land you want off the land by whatever means you have to, either making them miserable or forcing them off the land, taking their land, or actually killing them, these are the tactics that are actually being used. So how do you accelerate that? If you're having a stalemate, you have these quote-unquote pesky Arabs and pesky Muslims who won't get off their land. They're very resolved people. They're proud. They're willing to stand their ground. What do you do? How do you accelerate this? Well, one way you could do it is you could create an incident where there's been such public outrage that it then justifies you going in and accelerating the removal of these pesky people who won't leave. I believe that's exactly what's happening here. I don't want to believe that, but I'm trying to follow the actions and not the words. And how this gets portrayed in the media is, oh, innocent Israel, they got attacked by these horrible terrorists, these Hamas terrorists, and they came in and killed all of our people, and they're bloodthirsty and they can't be dealt with. And these people in Gaza, they obviously elected them, so they must support them, so therefore they have to pay the price. Well, here's some bad news for those who believe that shit. Most of the people in Gaza don't support Hamas. They elected Hamas out of frustration because nothing had changed for such a long time, just like people in the United States voted for Donald Trump because they're sick and tired of the same old, same old. That's why Hamas came to power. And ever since, they've stayed in power. So, and the other thing to remember is Hamas was originally created by Israel in order to be a countervailing force against Yasser Arafat. And they've been funded over time by Israel to create a division between the two sects of Palestinians, Gaza and West Bank. So, you got to remember, this is all about land. And this Zionist project that's trying to take over everything, think of it if you got moved off your land as you were growing up in your family and you lived there for generations, and then boom, some third-party country says, well, we're just going to establish this arbitrary boundary, and you got to go along with 750,000 of your other, fellow community members. And you're like, what the fuck? That's what happened. I would have a historical grudge towards that as well. Now, there are going to be some haters who are going to say, well, you're from the United States and they ethnically cleansed North America. Yeah, you're right. It happened, I guess 250 years ago or whatever it was. Maybe 170, whatever it was. It's like 5 or 6 generations ago. I can't do a goddamn thing about it. But this is happening right now, and it's continuing to happen. If you look at the facts on the ground, all this is a repeated land grab and dispossession, bit by bit, time and time again. It involves murder, it involves injury, it involves humiliation. We need to stand up for these people. The good news is that because of the new media landscape, people are starting to see through this crap. No longer can Israel manage the message. The United States and the Western media, they tell their lies. They don't report a lot of stuff. They lie through omission. But people are seeing this on TikTok. They're seeing it on Instagram. They're seeing the truth. And more people are coming around. I will repeat this for probably the 20th time. If you have anybody who's the I Stand With Israel crowd who just doesn't know any of this stuff, show them Anna Baltzer's documentary on YouTube. It's called Life in Occupied Palestine. Challenge them to watch it. Heck, just sit down and make them watch it. The other one is Gaza Fights for Freedom by Abby Martin. This is so important to bring people up to speed, because once you see this as an organized land grab, all the other conversation is just bullshit. So let's do our part.